Hello, Painting One students. This is part one of my final setup for fall 2020. We're going to go ahead and start toning up this canvas. I've got burnt umber, Utrecht oil paint, putting it all over on my canvas. I'm going to grab some medium and my rag. I'm going to start to move it all around, kind of dry. So here we go. Grab some Neo Meg from Gamblin. I'm going to squirt little bits of it all over different spots. Then we're going to go through and start pushing that around. I can mix it with a palette knife, or I can use a rag. I think for the most part, I'm going to use a rag to brush it on because that's quicker and easier. So here we go. Speed up, coat this whole canvas with the brown paint.
So this is
Now,
all coated, and now I'm going to use my rag,
clean rag,
wipe off the excess,
start to try and wipe
and get this to a lighter tone.
excess, so we have a lighter
What I'm hoping for is something
So here we go.
kind of like that.
And
Very light
started.
brown on the warmer side because it's very
You
transparent.
can kind of see it as I pulled
So
off a
I'll
couple
see
layers
when I'm
of that
finished.
burnt umber. So, same color again, same Neo Meg again, and now we're going to go through and set this up. You can see my picture in the background there. And we're going to grab the canvas, and this is what it ended up looking like. And now I am going to draw out my picture. So here we go. I have, you can see, here's my rag, wipe it away. Didn't like my first try. I'm using medium and brown so that if I don't like how I work the drawing, then I can change it or alter it in one way or another. I'm starting off just trying to draw the general shape, the outline. Where's the top? Where's the left side? Where's the right side? Where's the center of the face? Where's the bottom of the chin? If I do end up making any mistakes as I'm going through and drawing this, I can use my rag to wipe away a section or my finger. It's really easy because there's a lot of medium. And, here I am starting to change some of my very long, very thin, very straight lines into some lines that maybe are a little bit closer, maybe are a little bit more curvy, have a little bit more detail. Maybe I'll slow down a little bit on a certain curve to try and get that angle correct. So still just building up the base of the drawing. Here I'm blocking in the area where I think the shadows are going to be on the neck. Go back to the contours on the shoulders. Here's starting to look at the ear and the hair maybe a little bit more accurately. And a lot of this I keep, we make our first best guess early on and things change. So here's an erase right there. And then you start to judge things against each other. Which one looks more correct? Which one do you think looks like what we're trying to create? Which one looks, almost in a gut feeling without really thinking about it? Which ones are right? Which ones are wrong? If they're wrong, erase, try again. If they're right, keep them and build off of that. Here I am trying to work my way up the head, build out where's the mouth, where's the nose, where's the eyes, what shape is the hair, how high does that go up. I feel like I build it up, and then later on I think I kind of come back down and build it down again. So you move in cycles where you think something looks correct, and then you kind of make a little bit more of a drawing. You get some more of your values and your shapes blocked in, and you decide, guess what? That doesn't look right anymore. I'm going to go ahead and change that now. And that's usually the way that I try to work as I go through and make these paintings. The brush I'm using is a Kafka number 6. It's a long rigger brush. It is generally used for doing pinstriping and script writing on cars. So I find it to be a very nice brush to draw with. So if I really want to do a lot of drawing, sometimes I'll use a brush like this because it's can hold a lot of paint. It's very accurate, has a nice fine tip. So that's what I'm using right now. You'll see that I'm kind of drawing for a bit. Then I might start to shade in a tone a little bit. Just because I put a tone down doesn't mean that I can't go through and change it or alter it a little bit. Here we've got trying to block in the upper eyelid, the opening of the eye, and how that meets up with the brow, and the values up there. And a lot of this early on, I'm keeping very loose. I'm not trying to put all the details in there. Notice there's definitely edges where I'm trying to keep it soft. I don't care if I get the exact shape right away. I'm trying to get close in a good guess. And if I miss it, it's okay. I can come back and kind of draw on top. That's often how I will draw a portrait if I was using charcoal or some kind of chalk or any other, even a ballpoint pen. I draw everything very quick, very light, and as I get more sure of the lines that I like and I think that are correct, then I will try to put more pressure, draw a darker line, maybe be a little extra careful about how I've found an edge or softened a shadow. So here I am going through, adding a little bit more. You'll see that every so often I go through and I'm erasing a little bit. I generally don't have a problem with the idea of trying to trace something out, if that makes sense for your drawing. But in this instance, none of the other ones have started that way, so I'm kind of sticking more to the same process as the rest of the series of paintings, thinking that I want to produce something each time that's pretty consistent with what the rest look like. Softening that up, making it a little darker in the corners of the mouth because that area is like tucked in a little tighter, so it gets a little extra shadow cast in there. And we're almost to the point. I got to about a little bit farther than this, and then I took a little break. So we'll show you the still shot of that, and then start back on finishing the right side of the portrait. But you'll keep seeing I change things a lot. I might change a line here. There's like almost a ponytail that's kind of coming down the back of her neck. So that's what that line was. I'm retouching the shadow here. I know that I fiddle with the eyes 3 or 4 times before I feel like, those are done. So I think this is just about where I start to stop. I'm just going to start blocking in a couple of the sculptural waves of hair. I'm not trying to paint hair. I'm trying to paint a sculptural idea of the hair. So this is the image that I was able to get to. So now I'm going to go through and do the rest of this painting. The same process, the same ideas. I don't think I need to go through and necessarily narrate every bit of this. I'm going to kind of just step back for a minute, and then we'll go and maybe talk right before the end of this and into when I start adding the white highlights. Okay, so we're moving in, getting a little bit more done in the hair area, adding more shaded value areas, some areas grabbing some extra paint and a little less medium so that the drawing can be a little bit darker. Um, trying to find some of those curves, um, different planes. How much value do they get? Do they get a little bit? Can I put a little bit down and then use the brush to fan out and blend out some areas to try and get a little more tone in some spots? And, at a certain point, get to about the chin, and then I think I'm going to start working on adding some white to this cast. So put that up, take a look at it, take a picture, and now I've got white. So the idea is most of the time I'm going to add a little bit, and then I'm going to take the little bit that's on my brush and kind of fan it out or kind of push the paint out and away from the highlight. So that's kind of the normal technique I like to use on a canvas is I'll put a little bit down, and then anywhere where I need to kind of move the light, I'll put it down, and then I'll start to push and blend it out, pull some of that paint out and away. So I am using some medium with this white so that it's a little bit transparent. I don't want it to be 100% opaque. And I'll blend it out. And then if you'll see, I'll go back and grab some extra white and put paint back down on a highlight if I want to add a little bit more. So this is very much kind of like a scumble idea, but the idea is it's somewhere in between a scumble and a velatura, where I'm putting down the paint, kind of pulling it out from that spot, and then going back and adding some if I need more. And as you add the highlights and you kind of start to see how they map out versus your shadows that you've put down, it might change, your idea on where they need to go, how bright they need to be, how much do you need to push them around. Often, I'll have to go back a couple times. In a normal classical sense, if you wanted to paint this and paint it very accurately, you would just kind of keep building thicker paint on top of this. This would be kind of your ébauche or first pass painting, where you would kind of block everything out, get it kind of close, and then you would basically probably go through and repaint everything on top of this. I generally tend to prefer a less finished, less polished, more open look to how my paintings look. So I will go back and paint on top of this to some degree, but probably not completely. I think I want to probably bring it up a little bit into the realm of kind of sitting them next to the other paintings in the series that I've made and kind of trying to decide what do I need to make them feel consistent. How much more paint do I need? But I don't always feel like I need to paint every little bit of this to a very high level of finish. Sometimes I like the suggestion of what it is almost more than if I go through and I paint everything 100%. Sometimes I start to like it less. I just don't feel like it gives anything more to the picture. Maybe that's because I haven't resolved certain things as well as they should be. So I might be polishing something that doesn't need to be polished, but for the most part, I kind of like the look of this somewhere in between. Building out the highlights, the planes that are facing up towards the light on the right in the hair, Um, you can definitely see now that if you might have noticed in the picture before, there is a spotlight on the left and then like a different colored light on the right. So I'm trying to keep the lights on the right side just a little bit darker, a little bit more maybe blended in, a little bit smoother. And then the lights on the left side of the face are a little bit more white, a little bit brighter. If I had to say which one was more dominant or pointing more at the face, it's the light source on the left rather than the light source on the right. So we'll kind of build that up a little bit. Certain areas I might kind of scrub my brush a little bit to even out the tone. I might try to bring some of the white over to the brown, get a little bit of a transition tone. But you'll notice that I'm going back and grabbing white fairly often. This is not that same brush we were using before. This is I think a number 4 bristle brush. And so these bristles are stiffer. They push the paint more. They have a different type of look or effect. So here's a close-up of the face. And then if we kind of pull back, you can kind of see some details. This is the stage where the painting is right now. We'll see you next time.